Welcome back to another episode of ShadeTV. My name is Marissa Hill, and today we are going to be talking about the most anticipated sneaker thus far in 2023. These are the Air Jordan 3 White Cement Reimagined. Let's take a quick sneak peek. Welcome back everyone to another unboxing and review. We are so excited today because we'll be discussing the most anticipated sneaker this year in 2023, potentially could be the most anticipated sneaker of 2023. And these are the Air Jordan 3 White Cement Reimagined. So we'll go through the overview of these, talk a little bit about some history as to why people are going so crazy for the sneaker, and then we'll talk about size and fit. Of course, I do have the grade school sizing as well as the adult sizing, so we will do some comparisons as far as quality control goes and some of the key differences between both. Then we'll talk about how I styled this classic colorway, and then we'll conclude with how well these are actually doing on the resale market. So let's jump right into it. For those of you history gurus out there, I know you probably know the entirety of the history behind these sneakers, but for those of you who are new to sneakers and don't really dabble in Michael Jordan's history, at least his basketball days, we're going to explain a little bit as to what put these sneakers on the map. So the Reimagined obviously is a variation from the free throw sneaker, quote unquote. I say free throw sneaker because these sneakers are so famous because in 1988, this is when it was the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. I remember already a poster that was in my bedroom when I was a little girl, and it was a picture of Michael Jordan wearing these exact sneakers, maybe not exact, but the free throw sneakers, the OG pair of the White Cements. He was behind the free throw line, jumping in for that gravity-defying slam dunk. And that is probably one of the most famous images that has kind of been instilled in my mind on this sneaker, but this is really, truly what put him on the map. And that gravity-defying slam dunk from the free throw line was just something so spectacular and so amazing to witness. So definitely love the history behind this sneaker. As far as older variations of this goes, these were definitely retroed in a few different years. So one of the key components of this, which we'll talk about on the back of the heel, is this Nike Air logo. For those of you who have kind of kept tabs on the past releases, you'll notice that sometimes there isn't the Nike Air logo on the back, but this is kind of the most exciting pair because this is closer to the pair that he was wearing in 1988. This is also similar to a pair that was released with Justin Timberlake. So definitely those are two exciting sneakers that I just remember historically. These also were released in 2003 and 2011. The key difference though with that was instead of having this logo on the back, we did have that Jumpman logo instead. And in 2013, that was the closest to the version in 88. So it's been a minute since we've seen this beautiful color combination on the sneaker. Little over a decade, I would say. So that is why I think most of us have been so ecstatic about this release. All right, so now let's just talk about some key quality elements of the sneaker. I'm also gonna kind of be pulling the grade school version just to kind of show you some key differences that I found, at least on them. I know that there were a lot of quality control issues that people were talking about when it came to the elephant print. So we'll kind of go through and look over the elephant print on all of my sneakers so that you can kind of see what they're discussing and talking about out there online. All right, so starting with the upper, or the majority of the upper, we've got really high quality tumbled leather. For those of you who are big on just threes, you'll know that Jordan sometimes is very different when it comes to the types of materials that they use on all of their different silhouettes. It's always changing. So this is very high quality tumbled leather. You'll see that that's used throughout the lateral and medial side of the sneaker itself. So I love that they gave us all of that beautiful high quality leather on a majority of the sneaker. As far as the laces go, we do have just clean white laces, and underneath we've got more smooth leather in white, and then we've got hits of that subtle red accent on the Jumpman logo, which is nicely embroidered on the top of the tongue there, as well as the eyelets here. You'll notice that we've got a pop of that red hue on there. As far as the eyelets go, one of the key differences that you'll see on the reimagined version versus older variations of this color combination is this off-white cream effect. So you'll see that it hits the eyelets, you'll see that it hits the back of the heel, as well as portions of that midsole. So let's take a look at those upper details, and then we'll move along to the side paneling. So this sneaker definitely was given a very vintage and aged aesthetic, which I'm absolutely obsessed with. So this was kind of meant to feel like this has already been lived in and has really truly aged over time, almost as if this was the original that maybe you had snagged in 1988, of course without some of those pieces falling off the sneaker, it being in more of a mint condition. As far as the side paneling goes, again, that tumbled leather makes its way across the medial side, and then this is where we start to see more of that elephant signature print, which is truly a famous print that Tinker Hatfield has placed on this three silhouette. So we see that all the way on the back of the heel here, and again we have the OG branding on the back, which really is kind of what has made this release so popular. And then as we wrap around the lateral side, again, more of that tumbled leather. Underneath, we do have a bit more smooth leather and more of the elephant print on the side paneling of the heel, as well as the upper on the front of the toe box region. The Nike Air hang tag. So I know a lot of people during my live were a little disappointed when I said, I wasn't so excited when I saw that they used the cheap plastic. Listen, I get it. This was close to the OG hang tag that they had back in the day. I just wish that, you know, since we're paying a higher premium price, that maybe they could have given us a nicer hang tag on this one. But hey, not saying anything as far as it's keeping its kind of original face. So more the merrier to have it closer to the original. I just wish it was that original price point. As we work our way to the insole, we do have red and black on the insole. And then one of the things before I miss this is this pamphlet. So back in the day, there were actual pamphlets that were put into the boxes. So I love that they kind of gave this piece of paper actually more of an aged effect as well, just like the box, but definitely keeping it more like it was historically back in the day when they actually used to put these inside the sneaker boxes. All right, so working our way down to the midsole, we've got, again, more of that cream aged color as well as black. And then the outsole is in red, gray, and cream to finish off the sneaker. So let's take a look at those last and final details. so now let's get into the controversy that has been crossing the internet. One of the things I like to say is you should definitely at least have a pair of these in your hand before you go on the internet and start talking about imperfections like it's every single sneaker, because unfortunately that's just not the case. I feel like I definitely can see some key differences on these sneakers, but it's not so dramatic as people have made it out to sound. So for this variation, I can show you kind of a key difference. So the elephant print is actually a little bit darker, as you can see here. And this one is just slightly lighter, but I'm very fortunate to have gotten just kind of a pair that has that lighter print that matches both left and right versus getting, I guess, a mixed pair where the elephant print is just a little bit darker on there, as you can kind of see etched in. Maybe if I just kind of pull these both up so you can kind of see them side by side, the key differences there. And of course, elephants, as we know, no two elephants have the same exact print. So that's something that I actually, you know, don't mind, just because I feel like both of these are pretty similar. Let's just see here. So I guess on here you can see just slightly darker, a little bit lighter. So the elephant print isn't exact, you know, but over time I definitely feel like when my pants are grazing across these, definitely is probably going to change that color combination a little bit as it ages. And now that we have grade school, this is something I like to do just because I know some of you get sized out and can only go for grade school pairs, but also this is the more affordable option if you're able to go for these because you fit in the size range. So I can fit into A7 youth, and as far as the grade school goes, I would say quality wise, these are exactly the same as the adult pair. I think that they did an impeccable job with using pretty similar quality materials on here. I will say that just the interior of the collar here, I don't know why, but it just looks a little bit more cream than the adult pair does. So let me just hold that up so you can kind of see how the color just slightly differs. It's not too bothersome to me just because, you know, you are probably most likely going to be covering the interior of the sneaker itself, but definitely just a subtle difference there. And then as far as the elephant print goes, you know, I'm seeing the same thing here where this is just slightly darker and this one's slightly lighter. So you're getting the same kind of feel as the adults on that one. And then for some reason, you know, I'm not hating on this, but this is more tumbled than smooth leather. So you can see on the adult pair, it's quite smooth, that leather. It almost looks like they've kind of extended that tumbled leather from the upper onto the bottom portion of the sneaker there. So another key difference that you'll notice on the grade school, this is kind of how I guess I could easily tell it's grade school versus adult, is it's very subtle, but there's like a triangular piece on the upper there that's been kind of cut out. You don't have that on the grade school version. Of course, there's a hang tag on the adult pair. You're not getting the hang tag on the kids pair, but I'm 100% going to be taking my hang tag off. I don't feel like leaving that on, specifically because it has that plastic hanger piece on there. But other than that, I mean, everything else is pretty much spot on. I mean, the boxes are subtly different, so you are getting a pretty similar box for the grade school. The only key difference is that wear and tear that you see on top for the adult box is not there on the grade school version. So you can kind of see that that is worn in. All right, so as far as size and fit goes for the Air Jordan 3 silhouette, I typically stick true to size, and I will say these fit perfectly. So I would not recommend sizing up or down on these. I feel like true to size is perfect. Again, I do have high arch, narrow feet, so depending on whether or not you have flat or wider feet, that could differentiate something that works opposite for my own, since we do have different types of feet. All right, so now let's jump into how I style this signature colorway. Because this has some nice aged effects to it with this nice kind of off-white sail tone, I definitely feel like a great color option is cream. So I decided to go with this cream bomber, a white tank, and denim long kind of length skirts are really trending right now. So I decided to opt for this kind of aged effect looking denim print. And I feel like it just complements the cream tones as well, and it gives it more of a dressy kind of feel.
And I told her I'd stay away from women in the deals, but I'm sorry, girl, I can't. Oh, I told her I'd change, but I don't think that I can. And I told her I'd call, put my kid in, I'ma always be the one to stay the same. Oh.
look, I opted for an all black look. Definitely all black is always a safe option, and there's hints of black throughout the color scheme on this. So I decided to go with this really cool bomber jacket that has some nice kind of silver details on it. And then I wore this jumpsuit that has some cargo pant options on the bottom of it. So definitely an option if you don't want to go outside the box and wear color. Black is a safe bet to pair with these.
Shit is so confusing. I just run around in circles cause I'm never finding Cupid. I know I've been trying but I'm losing control. Deserve a woman or be stuck with a hoe. Take a silver or discover the gold. I'm just doing what I wanna. Running out of time, got me sweating like a sauna. I've been telling women I'm a chance like broken dollars. Oh, I told her that I
For this look, I definitely wanted to incorporate some red just because there are hints of red throughout the color scheme of this. So I decided to go with this really just cool kind of one symmetrical sided top that's kind of a bustier fit with some nice charcoal cargo pants.
But I don't think that I can. And I told her that I stay away from women in the DMs, but I'm sorry, girl, I can't. Oh, I told her that I changed, but I don't think that I can. And I told her that I call, but I can't. I'ma always be the one to stay the same. I got women on my mind, yeah. I can't help it if she fine, yeah. Way too many in my side.
Own my style, how I got this smile. Conquer fear, got the crown. Can't nobody bring me down. I'm looking good, quite frankly. Tim's a fitted big Yankee. Then I'm cold when I'm out east. I'm top tier, you can't rate me. Stop talking, baby, go get it. You start something, better finish. Yeah, that rooftop still a missing. I'm independently winning. Master B taught me no limit. Faith got me dominion. God give it, can't diminish. I'm set apart, I'm distinguished. You a baddie, baby. You gotta own it, on the style and your grace. You better own it, on it. All they wanna do is copy and paste, but you they can't replace. So on it, on it, on it, on it. You a baddie, baby. You gotta own it, on the style and your grace. You better own it, on it. All they wanna do is copy and paste, but you they can't replace. So on it, on it, on it, on it. Next turn when I walk in, got them all hot like she back again. Then I'm fit, I'm far from plain. Sugar and spice, I can't be lame. Tried to hate, but my God, stop. You got blocked, but it's tight in. Motivated like them high school players. I know you remember those titans. Everything ain't always black and white. I'm still gonna get it going with in spite. Shining bright, can't dim this light. Diamond in the rough one made me tough. You stuck on luck manifesting. I say my prayers, count blessings. Flashy, flashy flexing. My own style is impressing. You a baddie, baby. You gotta own it, on the style and your grace. You better own it, on it. All they wanna do is copy and paste, but you they can't replace. So on it, on it, on it, on it. You a baddie.
All right, so now let's jump into resale. So I'll go through both adults as well as grade school. So as far as retail goes for the adult sizing, these were $210. The grade school sizing was $150. So as far as the adults go for the resale value, these are between $250 to $310 depending on what size you are. And grade school a little bit more on the affordable side. Those are going between $150 to $175. All right, so even though this does not have the same storytelling as the Air Jordan 1 High Lost and Founds, I will say that this sneaker has been cemented as one of the greatest sneakers of all time. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of ShadeTV. My name is Marissa Hill. We will catch you all on the next episode.